this is an important point, guys. But wait a second. But then shouldn't you take responsibility for your orgasms?
No.
So let me be clear, that you want to have all the fun, but none of the responsibility.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying accidents still happen.
No, of course, and you know what happens when accidents involve other human beings? You don't terminate them.
What happens when a confident college student steps into a debate with Charlie Kirk? Certain she holds the moral high ground, only to discover she's unprepared for a fact-based discussion. In this exchange, Charlie calmly and clearly challenges the pro-choice position using logic, thoughtful reasoning, and a few hard truths without raising his voice or resorting to personal attacks.
My name's Kiana. I'm not here to change your mind or anything. I'm just mostly here to ask, why do you believe that abortion has become such a political and dividing issue in specifically the last few years?
Well, the repeal of Roe versus Wade, for sure, is one of the reasons. And secondly, there has been a not so subtle dehumanization movement over the last 60 years that makes it acceptable to crush human beings smaller than you if you so choose.
Okay. It's mostly I believe that the initiative of those beliefs have become more hateful towards women. And I'm just kind of wondering, what is the incentive with all of these points? Why should we not have the option to choose?
Do you have the agency or the choice to murder?
Well, yes. There's consequences, but I do have the option.
Under the law?
No,
Okay,
technically.
so therefore, that's our position.
Well, not necessarily. It's more so in the aspects of when, the mother's life is in danger and, those special circumstances, why can we not have those options in those situations either? Because no one is inherently going out saying, I just want to kill babies. That's not anyone's point here.
Well, yeah.
It's more so the point of...
You should look at a Planned Parenthood ad. I mean, that's basically what they do. But so less than half of 1% of all abortions have to do with rape, incest, or life of the mother. 99.5% of all abortions have to do with just a form of birth control. It's a last catch option because whatever type of birth control you were using didn't work.
Would you want someone who is not necessarily stable or ready to bring a child into this world and provide that child the life it deserves? Would you want them to still bring that child into this world?
Without a doubt. Every life has a moral obligation to be able to live. So I just want to play this out. So you say it's all about the choice of the mother. At what point does the human being in utero become a human being in your mind? Because it must be not human than human. When does it cross that threshold?
I would say more so in the second to third trimester.
Got it. So just be respectful, guys. But why then? I mean, what happens in the second and third trimester specifically that all of a sudden human being,
Well, it goes from a clump of cells in the first trimester to the heart being developed in the brain and the nervous system. So
when does the heart begin?
I believe in the second trimester.
Yeah, 6 weeks. That's the first trimester, right? So a heartbeat is detectable between 6 to 8 weeks. That's 2 months. The second trimester does not start till 18 weeks. Brain waves are detectable at 10 weeks. So tell me why second and third trimester?
Because that's when the baby is more so developed, is what I'm saying. When in that argument you had I'm not sure when you were shown the pictures of the fetus, of a dolphin fetus and a human's fetus, you weren't able to tell the difference.
But that doesn't mean it was not a human being, though.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not developed. It's the same kind of concept. If it comes down to that person's life and their well-being, why should they not choose themselves?
We're talking about two different things.
Right from the start, the student poses her question in a polite and measured way. But Charlie doesn't mistake her calm approach for a lack of challenge. She asks why abortion has become such a deeply divisive issue. Charlie responds directly. It's not just about politics. It's the result of a decades-long effort to dehumanize life in the womb. From that moment on, the tone is clear. This isn't casual conversation. It's a serious and focused exchange of ideas.
Life of the mother is extremely rare.
It's not that rare, though.
How many times do you think that there are abortions for the life of the mother out of a 1.5 million abortions every year? How much do you think?
I'm not sure with a number off the top of my
less than
head.
500 out of 1.5 million. And by the way, a vast majority of those are babies that could have been delivered by cesarean section. Do you know what a cesarean section is? Okay. So understand that if a baby's at 28 weeks and they say it's life of the mother, why would you terminate the baby when you could deliver it by C-section?
Well, if you can deliver it by
No, but
C-section.
they're not even given that option. They said they go to an abortionist.
So then that's essentially an issue that we should address within these politics, because no one is saying to kill kids. No one is saying
hold
go
on.
kill babies.
But first of all, late-term abortion is very common and very frequent.
It's not that common, though. That's
Again,
the main
how many
point.
times do you think it happens a year?
Late-term abortions?
Yeah.
I don't think it happens.
Tens of thousands of times a year.
You can't say that
Tens
when
of thousands
it comes
of
to the
times.
life of the mother.
But I am curious though, just more, because you said about well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Why should any person be able to terminate another human being if you feel as if your well-being will be jeopardized? Why should I be able to terminate someone in this audience if they're going to get in my well-being way?
No,
By what moral
that's
But apply a universal moral standard to the abortion argument and help me understand it.
If I were to get pregnant right now, I would not be able to give birth to that child and give it the life it deserves. Because
how did you get pregnant? How did you?
Accidents still happen, guys. Like
Okay,
you
hold on.
can be on birth control.
Hold on.
You can still.
This is an important point, guys. But wait a second. But then shouldn't you take responsibility for your
Absolutely.
orgasms?
No.
So let me be clear that you want to have all the fun, but none of the responsibility.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying accidents still happen.
No, of course. And you know what happens when accidents involve other human beings? You don't terminate them. You don't get to eliminate another human being because of an accident. That's not a moral code we live by.
Correct. But why do you not care about the outcome of that human being's life?
Well, of course I do. No, I mean.
But you don't, because
I don't?
if I were to give birth to a kid right now and it's living in horrible conditions, because I'm just a college student, why do you not care?
But
why do you not put in funding into those establishments
Hold
to
on.
help them?
Everything that we believe in is about the betterment of that kid's life. Safer streets for more police on the streets. Want to have better schools and school choice so that kid can read and learn. Stronger churches so that that kid can learn about a
Why
strong
does that
ethical
matter
code.
if I can't afford a house for this kid?
Well, but hold on, I'm going through the list of all the things that can happen. Curtailing inflation so that you can have purchasing power for that kid. The point being, everything that we as conservatives believe in is making it easier to have children in this country. And just because we don't want more government money spent on something, which actually makes it harder, does not mean we don't want that thing. But it's a red herring argument. We're talking about the morality of the elimination of a life.
When the discussion shifts to fetal development, the student's argument begins to falter. She suggests that personhood doesn't begin until the second or third trimester, but Charlie responds with concrete biological facts. A heartbeat can be detected as early as 6 weeks, and brain activity begins around 10 weeks. Suddenly, her timeline doesn't hold up under scientific scrutiny. At this point, the debate moves beyond personal beliefs, sits grounded in biology. And Charlie comes prepared with the facts to back it up.
So I just want to be totally understanding of clear that what species is the being when it's at 6 weeks?
To me, I believe that it's a clump of cells.
No, I understand.
It's a zygote.
No, I know, but the species.
I'm sorry, what was
The
that?
species. So everything on the animal kingdom has a species type.
Right.
So we are Homo sapiens, and you could be an alligator. But so what is it? Is it a
Okay,
Homo?
it would be a Homo sapien.
So if it's a Homo sapien, it's human. So then shouldn't it be given human rights?
But it hasn't. My point is, it hasn't been developed. It's still just a clump of cells.
Right, but
at the end of the day.
But hold on, my baby right now is 9 months old. He's still developing. He can't speak yet.
Right.
He's crawling. So why does he have less moral worth at 9 months?
not
We're all
saying
still
that.
developing here, by the way.
I'm-
You know that men's brains don't stop developing till they're 35?
Right.
So should we just be able to say, well, sorry, you're 21, I couldn't get rid of you
It's
because
more so, if I can't give that child the life it deserves, why am I bringing it to?
Got it. No, this will be my last question. I want you to think about it. If a single mom has two 2-year-olds, twins, and she wakes up one day and says, I can't do it anymore, I can't give them the life they deserve.
But that's just not the circumstance.
Hold on. Should she be able to take out a shotgun and kill both those kids?
No.
Of course not, because you think that would be objectionable. That's why I think it's objectionable to eliminate 2 babies that are 6 weeks old, because they're morally the same thing. One just happens to be bigger. One just happens to be older. One just happens to be outside of the womb. They're both human beings. And you have something in you that says, no way is it okay to kill a 2-year-old. That's called your soul talking. What I'm trying to do is connect reason and your soul and have that same sort of objection no when you see twins on an ultrasound.
I just believe you're looking at this more emotionally than scientifically.
Again, you can believe that. I actually am looking at it incredibly reasonably because I can tell you down to the minute when human life begins. You kind of give me a range. Your life began not at birth, but at conception, about 9 months before your birth.
That's your opinion. Well,
it's actually science's opinion. You know why? This is your eye color, your skin color, your tastes, your wants, your desires, your interests, introverted or extroverted, whether or not you're gonna be tall or short, it all got decided in that moment. You know why? Your DNA was formed.
Well,
and with that, what is your marker as a human being? As we map the human genome, we realize everything about you. Whether or not you have a predisposition to heart disease, whether you're gonna be tall, short, extra wide, skinny, it's all in deoxyribonucleic acid.
Correct.
And the DNA does not start in 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 20 weeks. It starts at conception. And that's when you were formed. That's when you came into this world and you were worthy of protection. Thank you very much for your time.
Then comes the turning point in the debate. Charlie delivers a powerful moral argument, comparing abortion to ending the life of a born child. It's a difficult comparison, and the student is visibly shaken. She shifts the focus to quality of life, but Charlie challenges that reasoning. Since when do discomfort or hardship justify ending a life? The room grows quiet as the full moral weight of the conversation settles in. Let's recap what happened in this exchange. What began as a polite question quickly turned into a deep and intense ideological discussion. Charlie Kirk came prepared with facts, logical consistency, and a strong moral perspective that left little room for counter-argument. He didn't just challenge the pro-choice view, he broke down its core assumptions. His main point, choice, has limits. In a free society, we make choices every day about jobs, beliefs, and lifestyles, but that freedom doesn't extend to harming others. Freedom ends where another person's rights begin. And when science confirms that a fetus has a heartbeat, brain activity, unique DNA, and is biologically human, that's not just a clump of cells. That's a developing human being with rights of their own. Then came the statistics clear. Direct numbers that cut through the emotion. The student brought up difficult and sensitive cases like rape, incest, and life-threatening pregnancies, expecting these rare situations to carry the argument. But Charlie responded with facts. Less than 0.5% of abortions in the US fall under those extreme circumstances. In contrast, over 99% are elective used, primarily as a form of birth control after the fact. That statistic alone shifts the entire conversation. It reveals that the debate isn't mostly about rare and tragic exceptions. It's about how abortion is often used for convenience. Charlie also addressed the belief that simply being unprepared for parenthood is a valid reason to end a pregnancy. He spoke directly. Once a new human life is created, personal hardship doesn't justify ending it. That point hits hard because in every other area of life, we don't accept personal stress or inconvenience as an excuse to harm others. Being financially strained doesn't make it okay to commit theft. Frustration with someone doesn't justify violence. Yet when it comes to the unborn, that moral consistency often disappears. Charlie then offered a straightforward alternative: adoption. If someone truly isn't ready to raise a child, they can choose life and allow another family to step in. And he backed that up with data. There are currently 36 families waiting to adopt for every one newborn. Available in the USTH argument that these children would be unwanted isn't just incorrect, it's misleading. The real question is this: why is ending a life seen as a better option than allowing that life to continue with someone else who's ready and willing to care for the child? Another major turning point came when the discussion shifted to when life begins. The student claimed that a fetus is just a clump of cells until the second or third trimester. But Charlie responded with one key point science. A heartbeat is present around 6 weeks. Brain activity begins around 10 weeks. And DNA, the unique blueprint for a person's entire life, is present from the moment of conception and never changes. The idea that personhood depends on development simply doesn't hold up. As Charlie explained, if development determined moral worth, then toddlers, teenagers, and even adults under 35s whose brains are still maturing would be seen as less valuable. Taken to its logical conclusion, that view becomes deeply troubling. But perhaps the most powerful argument Charlie made was a philosophical one. Moral value isn't based on size, ability, or how visible someone is. A fetus may be small, but that doesn't make them any less human or any less deserving of protection. A fetus may not be able to speak. It may not look fully human in its earliest stages, but none of that takes away its humanity. As Charlie pointed out, we wouldn't justify ending the life of a 2-year-old simply because we couldn't offer them the best future. So why make that justification for a fetus? That question wasn't answered because, from a moral standpoint, there isn't a consistent answer. Where the student saw compassion in abortion, Charlie saw something else. A cultural trend of putting personal comfort above responsibility. He wasn't subtle about it. He challenged the idea that difficult circumstances justify ending a life. At its core, the student's argument came down to personal hardship. I'm not ready. It would make me sad. I can't afford it. But morality isn't based on feelings. It's based on what is right. And Charlie made that clear. Discomfort does not justify taking a life. This is where the debate got even more difficult for the opposing side. Charlie revealed not just gaps in logic, but also a selective view of empathy. The student said she cared about the future of the child, but supported ending that future before it could begin. She said she wanted to protect women, but overlooked the millions of unborn girls who never get the chance to live. She claimed to want better outcomes, but dismissed adoption, saying it would be emotionally difficult. That's not a consistent moral argument. It's a contradiction, and Charlie called it out. What we saw here wasn't just a strong argument. It was an exposure of what's really at the heart of this issue. A moral crisis hidden behind political language. This debate isn't just about privacy or personal choice. It's about whether some lives are valued less simply because they're smaller, younger, or dependent on others. And once we start justifying life based on those conditions, we lose any claim to the moral high ground. Zooming out, this debate reflects a much larger cultural shift, generational rethinking of life, responsibility, and truth. For years, abortion was presented as a form of empowerment. But today, as more people are faced with the reality of ultrasounds, fetal development, and adoption statistics, the old talking points are starting to fall apart. If this debate shows us anything, it's that clarity matters. Logical arguments carry more weight than slogans. And when the truth is spoken calmly and with conviction, it can cut through even the most emotionally charged objections, whether or not the student changed her mind. Thousands of people watching saw a powerful example of how to defend life using reason, not anger. If you found value in this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one.